Hi, I'm Tony Buffum with Human Cloud, and I'm here at SHRM Annual Conference 2025 in beautiful, gorgeous San Diego. It is incredible here. This is a massive conference, and we're sitting right next to the SHRM Labs booth with one of the founders of the companies they invested in this year, Logan Sugarman. Logan, tell us a little bit about yourself and about Refresh.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. I'm a New Yorker, I guess now. Raised in Minnesota, but wow, I mean, it's all about transplant. The transplant. But after 20 years, I think it feels very much like home.
Yeah.
My wife and my daughter are back there. When I showed up in San Diego, my immediate question was like, wait, why don't we live here? It's amazing. I feel bad for everyone who has to be in this building all day.
Yeah, listen, I grew up in upstate New York, and I live in Charleston, South Carolina. It is so humid and hot right now. And I have a pool, and the pool is so warm, like it's not even refreshing.
Right.
But we land here, and it's like there's a nice breeze, and I'm jealous of guys like Frisco that get to live here.
It's perfect. Breakfast burritos every morning, right? We started, so Refresh is really about putting an HR manager in each employee's pocket. I
don't think employees want HR managers in their pocket.
Well,
what do you mean?
I think what they want, or what they don't know what they want, is someone to help them guide them through their benefits plans and tools and resources, and making sure that somebody's thinking about them every day. Especially, I guess I'm thinking more about distributed workforces, folks who are constantly on the go and don't always have the time or equipment to do the deep dives into the myriad of resources and benefits that are provided by companies. I mean, I think the value of benefits and resources and tools that are provided to employees have never been better. I think HR and HR teams have done a wonderful job of providing everything that you could ask for employees. I think the next stage in this is making it easier for them to access it. And I would say that if your average HR manager was able to sit in your pocket and make recommendations to you every single day, they'd be happy about it. I mean, that's part of that culture community aspect of things.
Yeah, usually when people think of HR, they think they're going to get in trouble.
Right.
But really, they also think of HR when they just want help navigating what's available to them. And to your point, like even here at this conference, there's tons of great benefits and really creative things that companies can make available to their employees. But one thing I've gained a better appreciation for since meeting you is just how poorly utilized a lot of those benefits are. They're paying for them. Companies want their employees to use these, but it's hard educating them, showing them how to get to it, and it feels for the employee like you said, especially a distributed or frontline workforce, how do they even figure that out? It'd be great to have somebody in their pocket whenever they need and say, hey, I heard we had this benefit, like how do I use it?
Right.
But that's overwhelming. And it's not the way, they're not used to just calling HR. They probably just won't do it at all, right?
Right. Or even better, someone who knows what's happening with you, right? Who knows you personally and is able to say, hey, Tony, you got married. You got kids. You have this thing happening in your life. We have benefits for that, right? They're going to help you.
For you.
They're going to put money back in your pocket, right? I think of when you talk about hourly workers, right, and frontline workers, to be able to put $200-$300 back in a family's pocket in a month, right, is impactful. And for folks to miss out on that or to misunderstand it or not understand the value that's available to them, really limits the impact of all this good work that HR is doing in building these programs, right? I mean, it's supposed to be a competitive advantage to have great benefits, right? But if they go unused, where's the benefit? If I'm going to turn a phrase here, and it's right now I think your average small enterprise has about 100+ tools, resources. Your large enterprise is upwards of 400, and I think the stats are that they're adding or changing 4.6 of those every 30 days, right? The change management in there is just insanely complicated too.
And it's constant.
Yeah. Constant. Well, and listen, I mean, conferences like this show you, right? There's lots of great stuff out there, and I don't think they're making bad choices, right, in picking up new products and letting other products go. I think, our job as we see it is to help make all that automatic, right? So that HR doesn't have to spend hours and hours and hours of time redeploying a new product that's cool. Or I think more importantly, worrying about walking on this conference and being, wow, that's cool. I would love that for our employees, but how are we going to do it, right? We don't have the time. We don't have the energy. We don't have the resources to get that out there and to get that into people's pockets, right?
Well, so I love the results that you're able to get for HR for employees, but tell us how you do it. We kind of glazed over that. How does Refresh bring all that together and make that easier?
Yeah. So, our system is built to be integrated with whatever you have currently. So we have about 3,000 plus integrations preset, APIs. So everything from payroll to HRIS systems to learning management to Ben admin systems and anything between, right?
Yeah.
Every point solution, quote unquote, that you can think of is really ready to go on our system already. And if it's not, we really have a 3-tiered approach of making those integrations happen for a new client. So it's really turnkey for HR to come in and say, hey, here's our stack, right? Go put this into a custom app. So everything we do is fully white labeled. So we do a custom iOS, Android app, mobile web for each client. So it's your system, right? And I think that's one of the big points is that too often companies are expected to conform to the standards of the technology they're buying versus the technology they're buying saying, hey, what do you guys do? How do you guys do this? What are the journeys that you take employees on? Do they have to go to ADP and then Aetna and then, their voluntary benefits? Okay, great. We're going to set that up for you so that when your employee comes in, they're going to see that step. Oh, and you've got different types of employees that have different types of journeys. Let's set all those up for you and have those ready to go. And all you have to do is tell us what segment those employees are in. And then as we get to know the employees, right, we ask questions. Do you have a pet, right? Oh, no? Great. Well, we're not going to show you pet insurance. Yes? Did you know we've got a great pet insurance plan, right? The system, we can automate a lot of this discovery and engagement that typically would be an email from HR. And make it live within a system. And again, it's not any work that HR has to do. That's what we do, right? We make this seamless. I think, in our average deployment, we're taking out 95% of the manual effort that goes into distribution, engagement, education. Yeah. And it's all done in a 4 to 6 week launch period. So we're not asking a ton of time or effort on HR or the organization, IT, anybody else, because we know everybody's time is precious, right? And we're trying to give that back to them, not take of that from them.
Well, I was talking to Zane earlier, and he described your app as the app to end all apps, because it's the one go-to place, but it's not like a company intranet where you still have to kind of drop breadcrumbs to figure out how you ever got to that payroll site, or everything's there, but it's there in an intuitive way that, like you said, it's white labeled. So when they're using your app, they can easily find whatever they think whatever they might need.
Yeah, I think we've started using this phraseology. We're not another app. We're the app that delivers all your other apps, right? If we can say app as many times in a couple of sentences as possible, that's what we're shooting for. And I think that's the truth of it, right? Especially in an age where I think, we talked about a little bit about this morning, is that we've gone from this kind of walled garden state where you have these monolithic providers to, kind of app sprawl. We call it the app sprawl hairball, right? Which has been great because you've really gotten to figure out what you want to deliver to your employees and be able to buy all these great solutions. But I think you now have, kind of the structural innovation where we need to go back to an organizational standpoint for all these tools and bring it back in, allow you to keep that freedom of choice to have best-in-class products across the board, but bring it back into not a walled garden, but a garden where you get to plant everything and grow your own vegetables, right? But people know where it is, and you have to go hunt around the forest for a morel or some sort of rare mushroom,
I like that you integrated foraging into the description of how people have to find access to their benefits. I think I love that it's this single place to go, that it's all branded. So talk about reinforcing your employee brand. Or employer brand, but I think just as important, if you make changes to, let's say you're with one payroll provider and you switch to another one, the end experience for the employee doesn't change. You can do that all behind the scenes because all they're seeing is that it's payroll. They don't see it's XYZ payroll going to their website. No, it's just this is ABC company's payroll, data.
Well, more importantly, it just shows you, it's like, here's the data that's in there, in your payroll, right? Your address, your pay amount, your number of dependents, whatever information, right? And then your pay stubs and all that stuff. It's the 60, 70, 80% of the information that you're ever going to want from your payroll provider there unbranded, right,
Yeah.
to a certain extent, for you to edit, change, engage with, whatever. And sitting right below it is, maybe your schedule tracking, right, your Chronos or whatever. And then below that is maybe your earned wage access, your daily pay or whatever. So you're able to affect 3 systems in one screen.
Yeah.
Again, to your point, with change management, you swap out any of those providers on the back end.
Yeah, it's still the same experience
User
for the
doesn't know, right?
Yeah.
User doesn't care, right?
So think about that. That one of the things that we talked about, or I talked about with someone else earlier, is one of the challenges in adopting technology or upgrading or using is the change management.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times for HR, it's really foreboding to be like, well, if I make this change, I'm going to have to do all this education for all the users. It's going to take a long time. There's going to be resistance. But when you can do that in the background and their experience stays the same, then it's like, bring it on. Like it makes the implementation so much easier.
Well, and think of this too, when you're adding something new. So obviously change management of swapping out something as integral as payroll, right? They're going to come in, they're going to look at that. But if we're adding something new, I always think of, and we talked a little about this this morning as well, like, it's about a critical mass of attention, right? When you have 20 apps,
yeah,
you can't pay attention to 20 apps, right? It's just impossible.
Well, and it's probably more than 20 apps.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if there's 20 functions within one app,
yeah,
right? You can come into that app and you use the 2 things that you have the highest intent to use. And now on the back end, we can see what you're using, or HR can see what you're using, and automatically say, hey, this person should do this. Or if we know enough about you, right, that we know you don't have a pet or you do have a pet, we can bring and cross-pollinate tools and features within that subset as you come in, right? So like you're coming in to use 2 things every day, cool, right? Every day, maybe we show a different thing below that as that 3rd line item, right? Saying, hey, here's some
maybe
stuff
check
that you
this
should
out.
do. Maybe check this out. Maybe, are you interested in yoga? Are you interested in whatever it might be, right? But allowing the system to sit there and cycle through things almost as a digital billboard for all the resources and benefits you have at your company.
I like
and the
that
other thing
digital billboard.
Cool is that, and this kind of came up this morning, we were at a lunch for some quick service restaurants. Companies aren't monolithic either, right? So like you might have multiple brands, multiple organizations under one brand. So, employees want to connect with the company that employs them and the culture that they're connected to, right?
Yeah.
So the more we can create sub-brands too, we can do that as well. So you can come in as top-level org, right, and then have all your separate organizations underneath it, and it really becomes personalized, tailored down to that individual user level where that user really feels connected with that brand, and ideally a lot of that culture that brand is exuding and trying to get that employee to connect with flows to their wealth. Now, we know culture is a human thing, and we want it to stay that way, but there's a way to support that through technology and to create
That's exactly it. Yeah, you're supporting it, reinforcing it, and that's what your customized group of benefits and fringe or whatever are supposed to provide. Naturally, people might hear this and think, okay, that's great, but like, what kind of results do you get?
Yeah,
especially from we're saying, hey, this is great, now people can use it, but do people actually optimize and utilize their benefits more after you've implemented it?
Yeah, so we have a few different metrics that we gauge success on. The first being engagement, and typically we're seeing a doubling in engagement with resources when we roll out.
Doubling.
I think a lot of that has to do simply with just providing a single place to go, right?
Yeah.
Because again,
just simplifying it.
Well, and aggregating demand, for lack of a frame, right?
Okay.
Like if you have 10 tools, right? Like some portion of your population is going to care about each of those, right? Maybe it's 10% of your population cares about each tool as their core thing.
Yeah.
Right? Well, if you bring all those in, now we got one place to go to aggregate that intent from all those people, and now they come in for their payroll. We can cross-pollinate the other things. So I think conceptually it makes a lot of sense, and I think over time you'll continue to see. It kind of depends on how you set up the system and the automations, but like to have challenges to be able to send out information about different things of the system. Because again, now you have one app that's sending you push notifications both about maybe your payroll or your open enrollment, but also about some of the softer things that are happening as well. Maybe there's an announcement from the CEO or from your manager that's coming through. Again, because it's segmented and personalized to the user, that user can see just content that's coming from just their team or just their part of the organization, right? It doesn't have to go company-wide. So you can have this very localized feel that will make people feel more connected with the system and want to be a part of it. I would say some of the the harder value that we deliver is, before we even launch, usually we're saving 3 to 4x our cost.
Yeah.
In just knocking out some of the point solutions that are sitting around the hoop that, were purchased because there was no way to get them outside of that.
Yeah, so they had to add this point solution.
But make more sense as connective tissue within a larger system versus like a point solution. I think of communications as being one of these, right?
Sure.
Be able to push, text, email, right? It works better if that push, text, email goes out to a segment of the population and then links back into a single app for them to do whatever that thing is that you want them to do, right? That alone will probably cost more than our system costs on a PEPM basis. But so, typically knocking out 2, 3, 4 of those is going to give you an ROI day one of 300, 400%. And that's pretty wild.
That's always a big hurdle for HR to get over, is making that ROI justification so they can get the support for the budget for an investment. But when you're returning that value, not only within the same year, but before you even start, that's pretty impressive.
And it's known before we get going.
Yeah.
Right? So we can say, this, are you okay with that? Great. You can take this to the CFO and show him, here's what we're exiting.
Yeah.
Here's what we're doing. Here's the money we're putting back in our budget, right?
Yeah.
Or putting back in the company's
hopefully,
budget.
or reinvesting in other HR technologies. Now you've created this space. Like what else is out here that you could get, bolt on underneath Refresh, and now make available to the employees?
Exactly. I mean, so bites and transcripts are great add-ons.
Well, that's where I was going to go next. You read my mind. Is you've been in this cohort with bites and transcripts. Tell me what that experience is like. Like just spending time with them. We've obviously seen each other a few times too. Yeah. You kind of get like a mini community. Just within this SHRM Labs cohort.
Well, I think whether purposely or not, we don't know exactly. But the cohort that SHRM put together. I mean, these are tools that work seamlessly together.
Yeah, they complement each other.
Complement completely. So even from day one when we showed up, I was like, wow, okay, this really works well together. I've been talking about bites and transcripts as parts of the Refresh bundle.
Sure.
Basically since day two of us being together, because of A, I think the products are amazing.
Yeah.
And B, I think it just makes sense, right? Like transcripts as a source of truth that can sit within our app for employment verification, especially when an employee rolls off. So one of the things that we pitch to companies, well, two things actually that we pitch to companies are that our app doesn't have to be just for the employee, right? So the ability to give a spouse a login to our system and see a different view of the system, so they're not going to see all of like the managers.
I don't feel like we've talked about that. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. Well, there's so much.
Yeah.
but so to give, and we do this with a lot of our union clients, to give another set of eyes on benefits, right? And to give somebody else the ability to affect or make decisions, or at least know what they're talking about, right? When we sit down at dinner and say, hey, honey, have you da-da-da? And we don't charge for that, right? So that's just included, right? We want to make this, we want engagement. We want the family, right, to engage with the company and the culture and be connected.
Well, the family uses the benefits,
And it's a powerful thing where your spouse says, wait, you're going to switch jobs for another $1 an hour? We have all these great benefits. What are we getting over here? Right? To have that unified conversation. And then the other part is that when employees roll off, right, especially in hourly frontline distributed workforces, I mean, turnover is in the hundreds of %, right? Which is a lot.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of people who go back on the street, whether to go to other jobs or to find something else for themselves, or seasonal workers who are just going back to school, whatever it might be. Our pitch is, well, why would we lose connectivity with them? Let them keep the app. We won't charge you for that. With transcripts, they have the app. They can open it up. They can see their employment history and show that to whoever needs to see it. So obviously Transcripts has their own system for that too. But now you have it through the company app, and maybe we have some wellness stuff in there, or your Cobra, whatever it might be. There's a term for this. It's like a kind offboarding or something like that. I think of it as even extending from that, right? So like we've talked to a number of energy and mining firms about this. They've got a lot of their workers are on contract. And so they'll roll off and go do something else, but they've got a very specialized skill set, and they might want them back at some point. So they've got to go out to a headhunter or somebody else to find that person again. Well, you had them work with you.
Yeah.
You know that they're good, right? You know that you like them. Well, now they've got an app that's got some value in it for them when they're not on the job. Maybe it's got some perks or some discounts or whatever, right? Well, now I can reach out to them. I can do a push message to just those people with just that skill set because it's all tagged and segmented within the system and say, hey, are you available next week, next month, whatever?
Yeah.
Or, that part-time worker, hey, are you available next summer? Or that person who left the company because, they were paying $15 an hour and they got 17. You go say, hey, we've got a new thing. We want to pay you 18 and we're going to have you at this level or whatever, right? To allow systems to keep connectivity even as you move within,
which is so
kind of
important for employer brand. Like, employer brand isn't only important to the people working for you now. It's of course important for the people you want to work for you in the future, and the people that left, like you said, that may come back. Or even if they left, you just want them to still have a positive experience. So when you're still connected to them, they're getting communications that are relevant to alumni of the business.
Right.
That's reinforcing your employer brand.
Yep. And I think it's also, it shows a level of care, right, about and humanity that I think resonates really strongly with folks. I mean, I think we sort of had this conversation this morning too. Is that human aspect and doing little things for folks really changes the way people think about you as a corporation,
for sure,
and an organization. And it doesn't have to be a big effort, right? And we try to make that. I think what we're doing is trying to make that easy and costless, right? We're not going to charge you for that aspect of it, but that can be a huge brand building thing, especially within these types of workforces that are highly transitory and have high turnover rates, right? Like, you want to be able to say, hey, we're trying our hardest to make your experience good, whether you're part of our company or not, right? And if you're not, we'd always love to have you back.
Yeah, well, and to your point, where we started with something like transcripts is something that when you leave, you take it with you.
Yep.
And so you still have that employment education verification. But if they're using your app for all those other things, they can still access that data when they go to their new job and they need to verify something, or they go get a loan,
and verification training, right? So we can show them the trainings they've done with Bytes or whatever your learning management system. So you have this thing in your pocket now that becomes super valuable to you as
an HR person.
Right. An HR in your pocket who's willing, who's not looking to get you in trouble, but willing to help you out when you need to get an apartment or a loan or your next job or whatever it might be, who's always there to support you and be a part of it. So I think, that makes a ton of sense. And then Bytes as an ability to do training and content creation, and the way that we manage segmentation, and obviously you can still get it in every other channel. Bytes is super flexible, which is really cool about it. But again, bringing it into a single channel and then segmenting it to those users makes it powerful and effective too. And we just love those guys and what they're building. It's really a nice system and easy to use.
But just going through it with them, probably sharing a lot of experiences as founders and growing your business. Like you're able to kind of share war stories, and you're able to commiserate on some challenges, but also celebrate together. I just feel like there's a lot that it creates that sub community.
No, listen, I think we're all very similar, and we're all in a very similar spot in our growth trajectory. And listen, there's nothing worse than being an entrepreneur. So misery loves company, I think we're all having a great time and good success. So it's nice to have those moments and have those shared moments together,
and know that they get it. Well, but what brought you together was SHRM Labs and the Workforce Tech Accelerator. What difference has that made for you, just being a part of SHRM or having that support?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think it's validation, right? As far as a tastemaker within the HR industry, it doesn't get any more powerful than SHRM. The research, the people, this organization from top to bottom is like, spending any time with anyone here, you just learn so much more. I didn't come from HR, so I'm not well versed in all of it.
Yeah.
Spending a few hours with you folks, you start to feel like a professor in it, right? It just rubs off on you with everyone within the organization from Johnny on down, right? Yeah. I would say having them look at and then invest in your product,
it's a stamp of approval,
especially with, I think, maybe more so than the other two where we are, which is, we're kind of creating a new category here a little bit.
Yeah.
So my question in my back of my mind as a founder is is this right?
Does anybody even want this? Yeah.
Even with sales and whatever going okay, product market fit is never done.
Yeah.
Right? So having them come in and say, yeah, this is where things are going, right?
Yeah.
And be able to see that, especially now, because I think we're still a little bit early. That was amazing, and just to spend time with so many great, influential people in the space who are seeing the problem that we're trying to address, and then helping us figure out how we can meet those groups and come into some of those conversations and connect with those folks. It's just amazing. Being part of Dr. Alonso's podcast, getting some of the research written and articles that we've had written. Yeah, it's been a really great process. And Hadil and Nathan are just amazing people to work with. Who for the audience out there are
they work behind the scenes, but they make everything happen.
Everything happen.
And they're the ones that brought all of us together.
All of us together.
We're super grateful to them.
Just on top, just an amazing,
What has it been like for you to be at a conference with a bunch of HR people coming around? Like, is it, like you just said, you don't come from HR, but now you're interacting with them all the time. Is it weird being at an HR conference? Is what you expected?
I've always loved HR.
Everybody loves
HR folks are the best. And I'm not trying to suck up here. I just think within an organization, if you're looking for someone to hang out with,
they got some.
You're probably going to HR, right?
Yeah, when they on these conferences, when they whip out the bar and you can start chatting things up, they're gonna have some good experiences.
Well, I just walked by a couple of the financial wellness booths over here, and they've already got a bartender whipping up tequila shots and margaritas. I'm like.
You're like,
I guess it's 5 p.m. East Coast time, but it's still 2 o'clock out here.
When you have that routine, you can't break it, so you gotta stick with that here. Well, that's all. So, thanks so much for having the conversation. Tell us, where can people learn more about Refresh? Yeah. How can they follow up with you or even reach out to you?
Yeah, refreshplatform.com. Might not be the best website that I've ever seen, but it does the job for now. Or just email me, right? Logan at refreshplatform.com. I'm happy.
What about do you go on the socials, LinkedIn, and
I'm on LinkedIn. Yep, hit me up on LinkedIn. Okay. I'm not a big Insta, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever now. I don't have time for that stuff. Yeah. But hit me up on LinkedIn. That's a good one. Yeah.
Well, great. Thanks so much for coming by, man.
Pleasure.
It's been great hanging out with you. And this has been a pretty cool conference already, and we're just getting started.
I know. 25,000 people. It's crazy.
That's nuts. Thanks again, man.
Thanks, Tony. Talk to you soon. Thank you.